Hey, this is all from EVILE, and you're watching Loud TV.
Tonight, I'm with all from EVILE. The band is back, and I have to say it will be one of the highlights album of this year. It's a very angry album, don't you think so?
I'm a very angry person.
So first of all, there are quite new lineup changes through the last years. You came back. There is a new guitar player. So let's explain us.
Yeah, so I left the band in 2013. The band carried on. They replaced me with a guy called Piers, and I think about 5 years later, it came about that Piers was no longer around. He stopped showing up, so me and Matt got talking, and I rejoined the band, and the band didn't really do any new music, so that was my first thing. It was like, right, we have to get writing some new music. So we hit the ground running. We started writing brand new material from scratch, and then it took about a year, and then we were waiting for more vocals and lyrics, and Matt just did not have time, and we kind of felt something was coming, and so that was like a 2-year process, and then everything just took a while, basically. It took longer than it should have.
Yeah, because something like 9 years since the last album.
8
years. But it's a long journey.
Very, very. But I'm glad we're finally here, and it's 3 weeks until the album's out, I think.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
It seems that this band is not a quiet river, you know. It has been quite difficult, you know, through the years.
I'd say it is quite a quiet river, this band, because we obviously lost our bassist in 2009, Mike. So Joel was the replacement of bassist, and then it's my fault really for leaving. So we're pretty much the intended original lineup minus Mike, and then obviously Matt has now left. So the way I look at it is it's the original lineup as far as it can be without Matt. So we can't get Mike back. So that's the next best thing now.
Why did Matt leave?
He has 3 kids. He has a demanding job. His health is very up and down. He had a few health scares recently, maybe a year or 2 ago, and I just think he didn't want to do it anymore. I think it just wasn't in him anymore, and I understand, because I had a similar feeling back in 2013. You know, it's just an unsustainable way of doing things, and I think we've come to the realization now that being in a metal band, it's more of a hobby. Yeah. It can't be your main career or your main job, unfortunately. I wish it could. I wish everyone would buy music and it all works out that way, but it's just not how it is anymore.
Okay, and let's introduce the new guitar player, Adam Smith.
Yeah, he plays in a band called Riptide. They're from the same place that EVILE are from, in Huddersfield. He's a great kid. He's just turned 20. So he became an EVILE fan when he was 11, which is maybe just around the time Skull came out, I guess. Just before Skull. And he's a really chilled out guy. He's really relaxed, but he's very, very confident. He's a really good guitar player, and he fits right in with us because we already kind of knew him beforehand, and he's from the local area, so we're just on the same wavelength, and it really works out. He's a really nice guy. Yeah, he's kind of injected a bit of life into the band. We're a bit more positive now, and everything's a bit more relaxed. It's a lot less negative. It's really cool. It's good.
Okay, so there's a new team, new production with Chris Clancy. Yeah, how did you get in touch with this producer in England?
Well, we've used Russ Russell for 3 albums, and we have nothing against Russ. He's an amazing producer. The timing didn't really add up for what we wanted to do because we'd have to have waited longer to be able to use Russ. And we got talking, and we just thought, look, we can't use the same producer forever, so let's just try someone else. And I was speaking to Andy Sneap, and I asked just, can you recommend anyone? And he just recommended Chris, and I'd never heard of him. I'd never met him. But he's a professional vocalist, and he has been for about 20 years. And he said, if this is your first album doing vocals, you really need someone like Chris. So I can't thank Andy and Chris enough because they really saved the album. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing on vocals. And halfway through the recording process, it was going quite badly. And we were listening to the vocal takes like, oh my God, it sounds so bad. And we tried a few things, and Chris worked with me, and it finally clicked, and it just worked. So huge thank you to Andy and Chris for that. And he's a great producer as well.
Yeah, and why not Andy? Maybe he's a tour. Yeah.
no, he's not available. He's a very busy guy.
Yeah, with the Judas Priest, of course.
Yeah.
And now you sing. You are on vocals. Yeah. What is it to make this choice?
Yeah. When Matt left, we thought, what are we going to do? And I know what metal fans are like when a singer leaves a metal band. And it's a very dangerous, ground. So we thought the best way to go about it would be to have a familiar face on vocals. And Joel's not interested. Ben probably shouldn't be singing when he's drumming that stuff. So it kind of fell down to me because there's only 3 members in the band at the time because Adam hadn't joined yet, and I kind of wanted to inject a bit more aggression into the music, and my vocal approach is more aggressive. So it made sense, really. I mean, I recorded the vocals for the demos, and they weren't great, but you could hear the kind of approach that they should be going. So it all made sense, and we just went for it.
Yeah, that sounds great. It's.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think it's a really, really good album, and there is a new record label also on Napalm Records, which is your first album. And so, how do you feel on this major?
It's great. I mean, we were with EVILE Records before. They were a great label to us. We had a 4-album deal with them. We did 4 albums. Then we just thought, we'll try someone new. And the great thing about Napalm was I was speaking to a few labels about doing this album, and they were all interested. And then Matt left the band, and all the labels weren't interested anymore, except for Napalm. They were the only label that stuck around and said, you know what, let's give this a go. I like the songs. This is going to be cool. So, big kudos to Napalm for taking the chance on us, really. Really cool label. Loads of emails back and forth, loads of plans and schedules. Just a great label, really.
Yeah. And let's get back to the music and the production. I feel it's quite old school, I would say, production, and it reminds me the really good obituary sound.
Yes, that was slightly my goal. we wanted that. Obviously, we can't get it, but I love the '90s Florida death metal sound. The Scott Burns kind of old Sepultura kind of vibe, and we if you go into a studio wanting a sound, it's not going to happen. So we just went for what was right at the time, and it was just so lucky that it sounds close to what I was hoping it would do. So I love the sound of this album. It's not too polished. It's quite raw and aggressive. I like it.
It's a good mix, I would say.
Yeah. You can hear everything, and there's bass there, so it's great.
Yeah. What about your guests, Brian?
It came about in 2010, I think. Someone sent me a screenshot of the Sarah Silverman show, and Brian was on that show wearing an EVILE shirt. It was an Enter the Grave shirt, and we got talking, and I said, I had no idea you like EVILE, and he said, yeah, I love your stuff, and I asked him, do you want to do some backing vocals on our third album, which was Five Serpents' Teeth? So he sang backing vocals on Cult. He just shouted Cult like 20 times, and we mixed it in. And this time, I just sent an email, do you want to do it again on Gore? I sent him the song, and he liked it, and he just did the same again. And the funny thing is now that because it says Gore featuring Brian Posehn, everyone's like, I can't hear him in the song. Where was he? He's not in the video. And it wasn't supposed to be like a thing, like a headline. It was just, hey, Brian, do you want to do some backing vocals? So there's some confusion there, but I guess it makes people interact with the videos a bit more.
Maybe you should have invited Araya from Slayer. Maybe there would be a contrast, in the vocals.
Yeah, that would be cool, but I think he is done.
I think so. There is also a zombie apocalypse, a Mortician cover, which is quite unusual, And I remember discovering that band in the '90s, late '90s, I think, and it was so bizarre, This it was a new man, I would say, the style. And so you made it your EVILE sound on this one.
Yeah, I've been a huge fan of death metal since I was a teenager, but I prefer the classic death metal. So Cannibal Corpse, Deicide, Obituary, Mortician, Death, and Mortician are a band that whenever I speak to people who I know who are into death metal, they either don't know Mortician or they just haven't given them enough time. And the thing, I love Mortician. I love how ridiculous they sound in a good way.
Yeah.
And Zombie Apocalypse has always been a song that I always listen to, and it's mainly for that riff. I've always loved that riff. Whenever I pick up a guitar, more often than not, I will play the and it was basically an excuse to play that riff, I think. So I asked the band, do you want to cover this song? Joel already knew it. Ben heard it and just said, yeah, I think we can do that song justice. So, yes, it was fun. Very fun.
Another reference to gore or horror movies was a reference to John Carpenter, The Thing. Maybe one of your best movie, I suppose.
The best movie. Number one.
Number one.
It's my all-time favorite film.
So, what's the deal with naming a song like this?
Well, we've always tried to do film songs. I mean, on our first album we did First Blood, which was Rambo, Killer from the Deep, which was Jaws, We Are About to Die was Gladiator. We've done quite a few, but we haven't done it in a while. So I thought we need to do a film song on this. And at the time I was watching The Thing, I thought, right, let's do that. And when it came to naming the song, I was thinking of loads of different titles, like it could be a line that someone says in the film or something. But I just thought, you know what, let's just go for it and just call it what the film is called. But I wanted to, it was kind of a joke. We put the 1982 at the end as a joke, just to confirm that we mean the 80s version and not the prequel from 2011, because that sucked.
So many reboot films, you know, like Robocop or Total Recall, or you know, I think there was a special things in the 80s, in the 90s, you know.
I think it was the practical effects. Like they worked so hard on making everything be there and not just rely on computer effects, because they couldn't really then. But there's just something that's so honest about it being built, and it's there, it's on the film, and people are interacting with it. I think you subconsciously lose something when there's CGI and the actor is acting out something that isn't there, and I think deep down you know it's not there and you can't fully enjoy it.
We were talking about horror, and the artwork is you have worked again with Michael Willem, who worked for Stephen King, Sepultura, Obituary. So yeah, it's I bet it's not so easy to have to ask him a new artwork.
Well, this one, the one he did at the second album, Infected Nations, was new. It was a commission and it was from scratch, and he did that. And Michael's a very busy guy, and for this one, I've been speaking to him since the second album. He came to our gig in America, wherever he lives. I have no idea where that was. It was a long tour. And I sent him the new songs and said, look, we've got an album coming up. We'd really like to work with you again. He listened to them and he really liked it. And I think he enjoyed working with us as well, because he just said, yeah, I'd love to, but I don't have time. So he sent over maybe 10 images that he thinks would fit the music. Most of them we didn't feel were right, but there was the one you see on the cover.
Yeah,
we didn't really like that at first, and it wasn't until we zoomed in and put the EVILE logo at the top that we went, yes, that's the one. So we just emailed back like, we love that one. Can we please use that?
Okay, so yeah, it seems that for this new album, all the ingredients are quite all the stars are in the good mood for this new album.
Yeah, I have to agree. We've always been proud of every single album we've done, but there's something about this one that we all feel like there's something not magical, but you know, there's something really good about this album. We've got a really good feeling about it, so I really hope everyone likes it and, you know, considers picking up the CD or the vinyl, you know, to help the band out.
And you know, we were talking about Araya from Slayer, and they quit, and I feel there's an empty space, you know, and maybe this empty space is maybe for you.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I do. No, that would be great. You know, we are doing this at the side of our jobs. We understand it has to be a hobby now, but it would be amazing if EVILE could get to that point where, you know, we can take off. It would be great.
And now we can't wait to see you live, you know, to listen to the new songs on stage.
Yeah, us too. We've been, well, everyone's been sat at home for a year doing absolutely nothing, and we really want to get out there and take Slayer's spot.
So, of course, you can't say anything for the moment, I suppose, but you will play live, I suppose. Maybe hope you can quit UK.
Well, at the moment we have some gigs booked. There's a one-off gig coming up soon. Hopefully it will happen. We're playing Bloodstock Festival in the UK. That's apparently still happening. We're looking at doing a UK tour early 2022. We don't know yet because no one knows. But as soon as we know, we're getting out there. You know, our only issue is Brexit. If we forget COVID for a second, Brexit is our other problem because it's really crippling UK bands' plans to get to Europe because it's too expensive. Now it's too expensive. And as things stand at the moment, we can't go to the EU. So I really hope leading up to 2022, things change for musicians because it's going to be really difficult.